So the last week session, whatever we did, it was more about the objective. So we have seen the basic objective, like I have given an overview how the IT cells of different political organizations or anything, any companies, how they work, the IT cells, how they operate on the different social media platforms like social media like Facebook or WhatsApp, and how they use that to spread some information on whatever the information you see on the Facebook. Probably most of them will be fake information. So they create the news, they create some fake information against the Islam, and they'll try to do that. And even there are many of our people as well, they they just spread some information which is something not really required with some kind of half knowledge. Like if you take an example, like recently I have seen a post regarding the virus outbreak, what is going on right now throughout the world. Like they're all using the face masks and all these things. And suddenly you see some of our Muslim brothers, what they do is they just post that that's the reason, in Islam you have hijab and niqab and all these things. But again, this is something irrelevant. There is nothing relation with that and this. So probably whatever the hijab the women's wear, probably that is something ordered by Allah. So Allah ordered them to cover their body, faces, all those things. Probably. So it's something irrelevant. You know that. But again, relating this with something currently running is something again. Most of the simple logic question, like most of the non-Muslims, they'll say why men are not doing the same thing. Why they are not wearing the burqa or wearing the these things. So this is kind of irrelevant. You find a lot of things on this. Even our Muslim brothers, they just try to show the Islam, but not in the right context, with some half knowledge, or even they just relate each and everything with Islam. So just to show the superiority of Muslims or whatever, that's something not really required, because indirectly, you are being marked for providing the wrong information, but whereas you actually don't know the correct information. So this is just one example. Maybe you have also seen these kind of things. Okay, so that's something happening. So this is one example. So we need to make sure that we also need to educate these kind of guys. We need to educate them that, okay, this is something, it has nothing to do with the virus. This is something ordered by Allah, so and so in Quran, so and so place. And also we need to come up to support our Muslim brothers and educate them as well. At the same time, we have to educate the non-Muslims as well, because whatever the media shows, or whatever the Muslim shows, their neighbor Muslims, so they think that is kind of Islam. Like one more example, let's say in India, like even when in my childhood, when I was in hometown, you know all the festivals will be celebrated by both religions. Like if there is any festival in my neighborhood, who is a non-Muslim, so you go there, you visit their house, you eat everything, even include the prasads or whatever, you just go and uh, participate in their festivals, like crackers and Diwali festival. You light up the crackers, or even it is a Holi, which is coming up next month, I think this month. Even you celebrate that in your childhood. This is like common, and they say that we are brothers, we are all these things. So this is again, if you say that you cannot celebrate Holi because you're just trying to imitate the non-Muslims, because again these things. So again, these our Muslim brothers, again they will come against you as well, because they don't have enough knowledge. So you need to educate them as well. Okay, so we are not going to oppose any non-Muslims or whatever the celebrations. We are not saying that, okay, you don't celebrate, you do this, you do that. We are not we don't want to say anything about that, but at the same time we need to educate our Muslim brothers especially on these things. That, okay, so celebrating like there are many festivals you see in India, especially in our in some villages, probably where you have a lesser Muslim majority. So you cannot identify Muslims unless you see them except on Eid. If I go to my hometown sometimes for my Eid, So it's very hard to recognize who is a Muslim unless there is an Eid celebration or even there is a Friday, and many of them don't even pray Fridays as well. Okay, so it's really unfortunate, these things. So I have been part of that earlier, I can say, but this is something you need to know. Okay, a few things, a few observations what I did. So I just wanted to share with you. Okay, so the first thing, we have seen the objective as well, objective, and then we'll see how to promote and educate these things. And also we have discussed the plan, like we'll be using, there's two things we will be doing. Like one of the plan is like for the non-Muslims, we have to share the correct information of the Islam. So what is Islam? Islam is a religion of peace and all those things. And again about the Quran, what is mentioned in that, and about anything, the believers, non-believers, or specific or topic wise. Well, we had to specifically focus on topic wise. Apart from that, our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, probably his character and his teachings, and even who is your creator, probably you can also. So these are the things we'll be focusing, especially in the non-Muslim groups, mostly, and mostly for our Muslim brothers. For them, the basic thing, you need to come up with something like Tawhid, probably, because many people, are involved in shirk and all those things. So they should be, they should know the difference between these two, and also the Sunnah, probably the the practices we need to do, because many people leave many things saying it's not compulsory, it's Sunnah, and many people create their own rules, probably. So you may have seen, I don't need to explain a little bit on that. Okay, so I'll just quickly go with how it works, probably how, again, as I said, we'll be creating some Facebook accounts, or you can use your Facebook accounts. So probably we'll work through a centralized page. Initially, we'll be working with a centralized page. Like I'll try to add few things which I didn't discuss in the previous week. Like we'll be creating one page. Okay, so probably this will be a Facebook page. Let me give some insights on this a little bit. Like first, I'll just give an idea about the first step. So right now, I do have a couple of pages which I maintain. So I have my local masajid where we have our own page, and also I have my own trust page. So probably these are the two pages from where I'm initially operating. So probably what you can do is you can either use any one of this page. So probably what I'll do is I'm going to add you as a moderator of this particular group, and you will be posting on behalf of this page. So this way there are benefits, because using your Facebook IDs, probably, and even I have just learned from our member, like there are some few restrictions on creating a Facebook account, those things. But probably what we can do is we can go with any one of this page. We'll add you as a moderator, and then we'll be working from that particular page, one centralized page initially. And once we grow up as a team, because the main advantage of working from one centralized page is, now you can say why we need a one centralized page. Let me tell you the benefits. See, if I use my personal account and if I start promoting the things, so at the end you'll be benefited. But again, at the end, the possible issue with this is like a little bit trustworthiness information. Because if it is something coming from a personal account, many people ask you, are you a mufti, are you a scholar, or you are this, and there are a lot of unnecessary arguments will go ahead. That is one issue. And the second thing is, in the future, when you want to raise some kind of funds, so probably, as I said, we'll be in the phase 2, we'll be working on some social activities as well. But again, for that, there should be some kind of fundraising options or fundraising plans. And if everyone, let's say we have 10 people, and if 10 people are working from 10 different points, that's really not good at all. Because the first issue is the trustworthiness, and the second issue is, again, In future, if you want to raise the funds, individual, no one is going to trust you as an individual. And at the same time, personally, you may be targeted many times, maybe by your colleagues, or that is one more kind of issue again. So probably we'll be working on this page. So later on, what we'll be doing is, once our team grows, now every member will be running their own page uh, in contact with their own local massages. Okay, so that is something what we'll be doing, because what I strongly feel, even if you take an example nowadays, there are many trust organizations throughout the world. You'll find plenty if you search on the Google, or if you have seen plenty of trust organizations, and there are plenty of other individual organizations run by a specific group of people, or we can say scholars, or DIEs, whatever you say them. So they have their own individual foundations, like plenty of foundations you'll find, whether in India, if you take, or even outside India, there are plenty of dawa programs or individual dawa programs which are running by individuals. Even there are many trust organizations running overall. So what they are doing, we are not really getting into that. So whether who is good, who is bad, how they are operating, probably all these things. So if you just summarize all these things, the the main thing is they are doing at a higher level, at a global level, we can say. They are working at a global level. Even if you take any simple organization, like someone who is running a dawa programs or dai programs or whatever, they are running in India, probably in a local language, in Hindi, or even in Pakistan, or whatever, because I've seen in India, even in the Pakistan also, there are plenty of uh, people running their own channels, right, their own things, okay, at one level. Now what I strongly feel is these things are good, that should everyone have their own responsibility to do this. But what I strongly feel is this all work has to be done from our massages. So that is something not really happening at a wide range. Because initially, when I started thinking, I also started off on some trust organization, and that's where we started one. And then I started realizing, there are plenty of things. Already, there are plenty probably working on this. But why there is a need for doing all these works? Because most of the work is not happening from here. So what I strongly suggested in my place here is, even though we do run some kind of trust organizations where we raise the funds, but most of the distribution or most of the work done through the massages. Because this is actually a center place from where all your activities should go, whether it can be anything, like it can be spreading the knowledge, or it can be social activities, or it can be anything, and later on it should benefit. Because now the problem is, like, especially in India, it's very hard, so most of these organizations, what they run, they have their monthly expenses. I don't want to say the figure, but it is very big figure normally. So in order to run the offices, in order to run the staff, in order to run the editing work, they do plenty of things, probably they have their own lectures, editing, there are plenty of big team working on that. And they have their own monthly expenses as well, which we approximately, let's say, if I say 2 to 3 lakhs or 1 to 2 lakh, whatever, depends upon the size. So they are able to manage this every month. But the problem is, in most of the massages, it's very hard to manage, because I have seen, in our local, as well as most of the massages, it's very hard to make, the basic expenses what you get here. So it's very hard, just like paying the salaries of your muezzin or imams, or paying the electricity bills. Sometimes in few months, especially in Ramzan, where you have a lot of additional expenses will be there. So they have to announce in each and every masajid for collections for all these things. Because what I felt is, so how they are able to manage, and why we are not able to manage, because the actual work which is supposed to go from here, which is going from here, it's actually stopped completely. Most of the places it's not going on, because most of the masjids are specific to praying 5 times a day or Friday khutbah. That's it. Few things, and there is no uh, there is no other activities going on. Like if you take spreading the knowledge or running some kind of Islamic madrasa schools. Again, there are separate madrasas again running. Again, they are separated because I feel these two should be at one place. Probably if you have 3 4 floors, probably the top floor or other floor should be used for all these activities. Even there are many madrasas also, if you know, which are running. Again, I don't want to tell more about that, but maybe you have seen plenty of madrasas active as well. There are some some authentic madrasas where they are unable to make up the basic expenses, and there are some madrasas they are living they are having a luxuries, probably especially those who maintain the trust who maintain, because they are able to generate the funds at the end, and also it has become other revenue option as well for many people. So it's unfortunate, these things are happening. So later on, what we'll be doing is, as I said, this is something initially because I want you to know the how the things work. So that's the reason probably centralized I will be working on one side. Probably I'll be guiding you how the thing goes and all those options. And once we feel that one specific individual is now ready for going ahead, so probably what I suggest to do is you contact your meantime you can still contact your local massages, and you can do the same thing, like create a Facebook page for them, and also create one YouTube account where you can upload the recorded lectures in your local massages. And also you can do some kind of again promotional activities like spreading some Islamic knowledge on through using these pages. That's something what I recommend, because again at the end in the future, again it will also help you to do many more social activities from here. It can be like running some Islamic schools, or providing some social activities, like there are many things like distributing food parcels, or distributing ration, or it can be the orphan education. So probably when you can generate some revenue on this, based on this, so you can do these additional social activities also. So the primary is to make sure that you get these basic expenses. At the same time, when you can run social activities from one single place, especially from massages, okay, so then you can make the people around, especially around the people, they will be more attracted towards the Islam again. So we have 2 pages. So probably this is something our local massages. You'll find this page, and what we'll be doing is we'll be joining the groups. So the first thing we'll be going with some centralized page. So I'll be adding you that in that page as a moderators, and on this page we'll be joining some groups. Okay, so probably here you can see there are specific groups you can see here. These are all a little bit Islamic groups. I have a list of this. I've already joined in this group. So what we're doing is using this page, we'll be posting on this. So if we go to the specific group here, because I manage multiple groups here, so you'll find slightly different information. So probably what we'll be doing is we'll be sharing the information from here, just like what you do. Because if you click here, you'll find, of course, here you can see this page. So from here, we'll be sharing this information onto the groups. So this way we can do. So the list of groups I'll be sharing, and also I'll see how we can post groups at once. Of course, you have to use some external party tools for that. Initially, we'll not be using. So I have a list of 70 plus groups already from where you'll be joining. So if you already have your own a specific page, like your local masajid group, probably you just share those details. We'll see how it will go. Okay. So probably this is something we'll do individually now. from here onwards, the information will not be shared on the group. So probably it's like more, and even the links which are shared. So this is the first step. And once we get this page, once we have these things ready, and the second thing is, once we have this page ready, the next thing is we need to collect the information. That is the biggest challenge. Now, because now the question is what you're going to post. So are you going to post randomly whatever you want? That is something what we generally do based on specific topic wise. See, now what you're going to post is going to matter. Now there are multiple things we can post. We can post specific images, as I discussed in the objective. We'll be creating some images with some information, or some kind of audio recordings with some editing, background editing, where we'll be adding some background, or even it can be a Friday lectures, Friday khutbahs also, or even weekly also sometimes happens in some massages like Sundays, or even it can be full lectures, or it can be some kind of partial lectures. So I've shared one link already on that. So these are the two options. And apart from that, there are images, which includes either Quran or Hadith images, or you can directly share the text as well, the normal text kind of thing you can share. This is something you can do. Now when you are doing this, we have to be again, this is where you need to have someone who can guide you, because collecting the information is something you cannot do on your own unless you have a strong knowledge. But what we'll be doing is we need to we are just talks with particular group of people who can get us information. So this is something we do topic wise. So topic wise, like every individual will be going on with one specific topic. Like let's say if we have 5 people, so we'll be focusing on 5 different topics, and that particular topics you'll be gathering some lectures, especially not lectures, we can say specifically the Quran and Hadith references. Because again, the lectures, there is a difference in opinion between different scholars as well as different maslaks. There are plenty of people, they don't find. That's the reason I suggest in the group also not to share any information or any Islamic preacher audio or video. Especially audio is something you can share, but specifically the video, because there is a lot of misconceptions between them. So it will be more better if you talk more on on any specific thing with the references, because the reference is something no one can deny. Because especially and of course there are some misconception on this, because the misinterpretation, because many people are misguided because of the misinterpretation of the Quranic ayats. Or even there are many people, they will misguide you, saying that this is not authentic, or this is some kind of uh, not authentic hadith, or even zaif. There are plenty of names you generally people say, because a simple thing, because anything which goes against your own personal beliefs or personal practices, and many people are not ready to accept. That is one of the common problem what you will face with everyone. So it's our job not to convince completely with them, because our job is to just to convey the correct message, and it's up to him whether to accept or not. So we can only pray for those people. But as long as we need to make sure that we are not in the wrong path, because we should be in the right path whatever we are doing. Because at the end you do something, you put a lot of efforts, and finally after you die you realize that okay, whatever the efforts you have put, actually they are not the correct way, or whatever you did, then we cannot do anything after that, right? So we need to make sure that we are on the right path. Whatever each and everything what you share, or each and every information what you talk or whatever you collect, because we cannot simply go and do the same thing what I've given the examples initially regarding the face mask relating, with the covering your face, probably, or anything, we should not share those kind of things. So that's the reason, that's where you need to be in contact with ulama, probably the Islamic scholars. So if you have anyone nearest who can provide you the authentic correct information, probably I recommend you to get in touch with them. So we are trying to make up a team of these things. So still we are working on, probably it's not. So like I personally, I do have contact, but again, it's hard to get a time from them. So probably what we can do is we can specifically, because simple thing, if you take one simple topic on any one topic, let's say if you are taking one specific topic on, let's say on how to offer the salah, probably. Okay, so if you just take a simple example on this, again, you will find probably they can provide you some reference of books or some hadiths. That's something you need to go. You cannot say that, okay, you must time and you please explain this, that, it's not easy. Everyone is actually stuck in their own work. So for us, it's very hard to manage 2 to 3 hours per week. And you can see the session, there are few people joined, and out of the entire group, there are only 3 to 4 people, or maybe, I think 5 to 6 people are actually responding things to the things. But rest of them, just they are just spamming. Now the group has become more as a spam group, just like any other WhatsApp group. Okay, but we can only. It's not like we cannot remove them. Maybe in the future, a few people will come up with some work. That's the reason I'm just, bearing with all those things, because slowly, once we start the work, slowly one by one will get involved. So it's very important for us to be on the track. Okay, so we have to select the topic wise. So initially we'll be deciding the topics, and we'll be using some kind of books, because there are plenty of books written by scholars on various topics. You'll find a lot of them, and probably I'll decide the topic, or we can decide specific topics on this. And one more thing is will be so the one more thing is we'll be using a separate group again for the active members. So just to differentiate from others, because initially I realized everyone will be quite involved, at least 50% of the people. But I see there are very less people are involved. So what we'll be doing, I think around 8 to 10 maybe are active. So probably we'll make an active group which only focuses on the task. So again, we don't want to make this as a spam group like other groups. Okay, of course, we already have that group which is already spamming a lot of things. See, everyone is seeing the information on the internet. Everyone is using Facebook. Everyone probably reading news on the internet. So there's no point in again sharing all that information again back to back. So I strongly feel we need to talk about solutions rather than problems. Now the problems, everyone know what are the problems in today's world. Especially it can be relating to any kind of virus programs or any mob lynching programs happening in India, or Islamophobia probably. There are many problems. So the more you think about the problems, the more you are stuck in that. That's what I strongly believe, because I generally think about, because when I think about problems, even I normally get stuck. That's a kind of normal nature, but you have to think out of that. We have to see how we can overcome that. So the problem is many people are not really, they are just stuck here only. So many things are happening in India, but they're actually stuck there only. What to do, how to do, share this, share that. Nothing will happen. You are just spamming other group as well. Unless you come up and do actively participate in any of these things, nothing will happen. Like I said last week, to create some group, like you can create your local masajid groups, WhatsApp groups, to just create awareness. So I'm not sure how many people responded. Maybe few actually responded to that. So if you can maintain some other active group separately, where we'll be interacting, like what topic, what's the next step, all these things. Clear? So sometimes I go off topic. So okay, so still we are starting. So probably you'll see when we will start the actual work. So it will take time, because the startup will take time, because we have to plan properly. Uh, I think I have shared enough information for today, for this week. We'll start the actual work, but meantime, what I'll give some specific task. Probably we can do. So the first thing is I recommend you to just ping me personally to make an active member of the group. So we'll make another group. Of course, there are plenty of groups, but we have to bear with other people as well initially. And slowly, once we are stabilized, will try to remove each and every non-active members automatically from the group. So we don't want anyone who is spamming or anyone who is using the group just like any other WhatsApp group. So there's no point in just spamming all these messages unnecessarily. Okay. So if you are, and also, you just try, many people try to educate others. That's also one kind of thing happening. So we'll make another group. Probably that's something where we'll talk about the task, those things, and we'll decide one page from where we'll be working on. So we'll be deciding that on this page. So I recommend you just let me know the, anyway, I'll share on our group, personally ping me, because there are a lot of messages going on that. It's very hard to see those messages most of the time. So we'll work from centralized page, probably either by use our own trust page or your local massages group, because I want you to get perfect in these jobs, what I'm doing currently. So I'll give you all the state details. And once we are, because if we are doing from one local platform, because I have created one local group as well with my local team here, 4 members who are actually working from this local massage. But I want you to become perfect first, and after that you can create your own page of your local massages, and from where you can do all the work centrally by talking to your local committee members or whoever they are. Okay, I'll share those details. We'll be seeing that. So my main focus is, here, the when you're saying something right information, like we are quoting something like the Quran and saying that, okay, this is something what is ordered to us, and we should strictly follow to that, and this is what the information, any information it can be. So if it is it's coming, it's not like it's not coming, it's coming from 10 to 100 people. Still there are people, there are many Islamic pages, there are many Islamic scholars running their own channels, YouTube channels or Facebook pages. They are working. I'm not saying they are not working. What we want is, it has to be run from every massage. It means from every place, like every area. Like if you take my area, I have more than, in this area we have 5 to 6 massages, from different maslak and all those things, different difference in between them as well. But the problem is, if you just count, there are plenty of these things. So the problem is, we are not doing from every place. So if some correct information goes from every place, there will be a huge impact. Just like if someone is saying, some information, if this information is being passed on by 10 people, and 10 people are forwarding this, compared to millions of people, then there is a huge impact, huge difference. So similar way, just 10 to 100 people, or maybe more than that, are actually working on these things. Maybe more, I'm not saying it. But what we need to do is, we also need to start this from our own place. And like that, everyone should do that from their own places. So when it comes from every place, or at least majority of the places, then will have an impact. Because if you say something, say this is like sunnah, they say this is something you have to follow compulsory. Like if you take simple example again, if you say that interest is haram, many people have different opinions on this. Why? Because now, why there is a difference of opinion, the main reason is because they are trying to understand the Quran. Because initially when I was, little bit less aware initially, If I go back, probably there are many people who have suggested that the interest is something you cannot take. Means accepting the interest is something haram, but you can still pay for your home or home loans, whatever, car loans, whatever it is. Or even you can do this. This is something what is misguided information by many people. So anything relevant relating to this is haram. Means even you cannot be a guarantor for anything, or even you cannot sign in that. That is also kind of haram. Even working in a bank in any sector, it's actually that's majority of the opinion of the scholars is something, anything relating to that is haram. But the problem is there are more people who are trying to provide, saying that okay, it's okay, you can still, you cannot accept it, you can still pay, like that. There are many kind of people, and the majority of those people has become more. That's the problem here. Okay, so fine, let me just quickly conclude this thing. So probably we'll work on this page. We'll move on to the technical things next week, because to move on to the technical things, first thing we need to decide one topic. Everyone will be deciding the topic, and each and everyone will be collecting that information on those specific topics, and then that information will be shared with us. And probably what we'll do is we'll try to verify that information, because it's not like we don't trust, but still, if it's better to verify with our from our side as well, probably on this verify these things. You'll find plenty of, on one topic you'll find plenty of blogs if you go to internet, or even books. But again, as I said, this is not the correct complete source of this. So the main source is our scholars. Okay, so we are still say, okay, you still go to internet, you still search few things, you still read some hadith Quran from blogs, but at the end you have to verify with our ulama as well as the books, and also make sure that whatever you are quoting, the interpretation of the translation of that, it actually matches the same what our sahaba, the way the sahaba took. So that has to match, because they are the best to understand the Quran, and they are the best to implement, right? So whatever they implemented and whatever the way they have understood, we should match that. So I cannot say that, okay, 400, 1400 years ago, there was a different rule and now there is a different rule. There are many people have this kind of opinions, like especially the modern Muslims, what they call as the people living in Western countries, majority of them, this kind of, even in India, you'll find, there are plenty of my relatives as well, this kind of opinions. They say, like one example, they say, one of my brother, they say that humanity is better than religion, but our religion teaches humanity. So he don't know that. Okay, that's the problem. They say humanity is first and religion is next. Means you should be favorable to the person, not to the religion. But our religion teaches that only. So they don't know that. Even being a Muslim, also many people don't know that. So it's very unfortunate. But at the end, we have to do our own job. It's up to individuals as well. There are a few things. Let me quickly see. I think local TV channel can be run. Probably the local TV channel. See, TV channels are gone now. To be frank, there is no more TV channels running today's network. So everything has moved to the mobile and internet. Even you have all the TV channels running on the internet. So it's better if you can run an application, or there's something will be doing that. If you can, because there are many applications which are more benefitable, like we have Islam 360 application or Muslim Pro application. These applications are providing more benefits, especially who want to learn on a hand, than a TV channel. Who is watching TV nowadays? I don't. Still, there may be, but everything is going live. You can still run this on a Facebook Live. There are options, like especially for women who are sitting in their home, they can use this Facebook Live messages. Like that is what I suggested, to run this Facebook Live or YouTube Live. You can run the Friday Khutbah live on these things. And of course, videography is something you have to avoid. You can do this with audio kind of things. So we can't do this. There's one more thing. We can't do this every masjid because of that's what, we cannot do in every masjid. Again, we have to verify. I'm not saying every masjid, but if you just talk about most of the masjids which are on the same, on those things. So we are not doing on this. Like, see, simple thing. What we'll be doing is, so everyone are on the same opinion or on the same, the deen, what our prophet taught and what our Sahaba followed. So we know that. Okay, probably according to that we'll follow. So we'll try to match each and everything with data. So it's not possible from every masjid. I know that, but if you see the majority,